week one of the fantasy baseball season, and some players, they were off to bad starts and slow starts. Here's a few hitters I look to buy and trade for this week. The first hitter, Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox. So what a train wreck of a start of a season it's been for Devers. 0 for 19 to start the year with an RBI and 15 strikeouts. Devers, we know he's a legit 25-35 home run range type of hitter. He's going to hit the 270s, 280s range, driving anywhere from 85 to 100 runs. And we know this Boston Red Sox team improved in the offseason. So like I said, Devers right now struggling mightily, striking out 15 times out of the first 19 at-bats he's had this season. But the day off yesterday, I believe, could help Rafael Devers, and he could get back on track. March 27th at Texas 0 for 4. March 28th at the Rangers 0 for 4. March 29th at Texas 0 for 4 and RBI, 3 strikeouts. March 30th at the Rangers 0 for 4, 2 Ks. And March 31st at the Orioles 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. So, like I said, it's been a horrible start for Devers. He's already had 4 out of 5 games striking out 3 or more times. And we know he's a great hitter. We know he's a good player. Maybe not playing third base. Obviously, he's not into it as much, where he's got to be engaged all game, where he's sitting in the dugout playing DH. Maybe it isn't for Rafael Devers. Alex Bregman, a better defender, playing third base, and that's where the Red Sox have gone so far this season with the decisions in the lineup. But Devers, he's too good of a talent, like I said, in the prime of his career. It's an early season struggle where he can't get anything going. Obviously, striking out 15 out of 19 times isn't going to be a thing for Devers. I think the day off can help him. I know he's been a high strikeout rate type of player, but obviously at this pace it's not going to continue. So, well, he's done nothing, and he's been the worst player in fantasy baseball, especially going second, third round in most fantasy drafts. He's an easy buy, low hitter this week. The next hitter is teammate Alex Bregman of the Boston Red Sox. Alex Bregman, so far with his new team, it's been a struggle for him as well. 5 for 22 on the season with a stolen base, but he's still putting the ball in play, which has always been a good thing. Obviously for Bregman, his strikeout rate's been low throughout his MLB career. Last season, 26 homers, 75 RBIs, 79 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, only 86 strikeouts, a 260 average, and a 315 on base. I think this season the numbers are going to go up a bit. Obviously in Fenway Park with the Green Monster in the left field, you just got to get hang time on it. And I think Bregman can hit 25, 30 home runs, driving 80, 90 runs, and obviously bat in that 260, 270 range. The last few games for Bregman, March 28th at the Rangers 1 for 4, March 29th at the Rangers 2 for 4, March 30th at the Rangers 1 for 5, a stolen base, and March 31st at the O's 1 for 5. So I think this Red Sox team, after they've lost 4 in a row and 4 out of 5 to start the season, they had the day off yesterday, like I said. I believe they'll go out there, regroup, and these are two talented of players in Devers and Bregman, like I mentioned, where they're too good to be held down even this early in the season. So I believe they're going to turn things around and get things going. And right now, obviously, is the perfect time for fantasy owners to go out there and get them. If they get back on track and obviously get on projection of the numbers they put up throughout their careers, you have to pay top price and the premium price to get them on your roster. Next hitter, Marcus Semien, Texas Rangers. Semien off to a slow start this season. I know last year numbers weren't great for Semien on the year. It's been a big struggle for him as well. 2 for 23 on the year, an RBI and 6 strikeouts. At least he's only struck out 6 times as Marcus Semien. He's putting the ball in play. But like I said, last season was a down year for him as well. 23 homers, 74 RBIs, 101 runs scored, 8 stolen bases, a 237 average, and a 308 on base. He's still going to draw his walks as Semien. We know he's got good power. I know he's up there in age a little bit as Semien, where the power numbers are going to drop off, but he's still a good talent, I believe. And another guy, especially at a weak second base position in fantasy baseball, that could turn things around and get going. So right now, while he hasn't done much as Semien, I would go out there and buy him this week. March 29th versus the Red Sox, 1 for 4 in RBI. March 30th versus the Red Sox, 0 for 4. March 31st at the Reds, 0 for 3. And April 1st at the Reds, 0 for 4. So now 0 for 11 in his last 11 at-bats is Marcus Semien. And like I said, I know the numbers dropped off a little bit last season, but I believe he's too good of a talent. So with him being off to a slow start in the first handful of games, he's definitely someone, like I said, I would go out there, buy low, especially at a weak second base position. Next hitter, JT Realmuto of the Philadelphia Phillies. Realmuto last season was a down year for him, and I think his prime years are behind him, but still at a catching position, that's not great as well in fantasy baseball. He could be serviceable and help fantasy owners. Last season, 14 homers, 47 batted in, 2 stolen bases, 50 runs scored, a 266 average, and a 322 on base. Where Realmuto obviously missed time as well with injury, but so far this season, off to a bad start, 1 for 13 with 2 RBIs. Is JT Realmuto. So like I said, I know better parts of his career behind him, but I still believe he could go out there. He could contribute. He's in a deep lineup with great hitters like Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Bryson Stott, Trey Turner. So there's a bunch of great offensive players in this lineup where there's going to be good pitches to hit all season long, I believe, for JT Realmuto. So right now, well, he's off to a slow start, and last year was a bad and injury-prone type of season, majority of the season for Realmuto. I think fantasy owners, they don't have to give up much to get him on the roster. March 27th at the Nats, 1 for 5, 2 RBIs, 4 strikeouts. March 29th at the Nats, 0 for 4. March 30th, he sat out that game. And March 31st versus the Rockies, 0 for 4. So he's been 0 for his last 8 is JT Realmuto very early in the season. And the Phillies, they had an off day as well yesterday. So once these games start getting going day in and day out, instead of play one game off, with the off days for the home openers for these teams, once we get into the thick of things, 15, 20 games in, I think some of these players, like I mentioned, will start getting the routine, starting getting it back to the numbers they've been putting up throughout their career. And Realmuto's definitely a buy low hitter this week, and the 5th and final hitter I look to buy and trade for is Francisco Lindor of the New York Mets. So the last 3 seasons, it's always been slow starts for Lindor, but somehow he finished the year anywhere from 25 to 30 home runs and steals. 30 is a season where last year he was second in MVP voting, was Lindor, with 33 homers, 91 RBIs, 29 stolen bases, 107 runs, a 273 average, and a 344 on base. So Lindor obviously off to a slow start once again. Even had 2 bad errors in yesterday's ball game that cost the Mets that one at the Miami Marlins. And so far this season for Lindor, he's struggling mightily. 1 for 15 on the season and 2 RBIs, but he's only struck out 4 times, which is the silver lining for Lindor. So he's hit the ball hard a little bit at times where he's just had some tough outs. But like I said, the last couple seasons, he started off slow as Francisco Lindor, and once again this year, right on time, he's starting off slow. March 27th at Houston, 0 for 4 in RBI. March 28th at the Astros, 0 for 3. March 29th at Houston, 0 for 4. And April 1st at the Marlins, 1 for 4. An RBI, a stolen base in that ball game. So Lindor, you're going to get stolen bases. You're going to get good power numbers. And with Juan Soto hitting behind him, he's going to get a lot of good pitches to hit as well as the season goes on. Like I said, it takes sometimes 15, 20 games to know what you're going to get from a player and for them to get into the routine and get comfortable. So right now, Lindor, it's been a thing now the last 3 seasons where he's off to slow start. So, well, he's off to a slow start, even though he usually picks it up by June, is Lindor. This is a time to buy him this week. So that's a few hitters I look to buy and trade for week 1 of the fantasy baseball season.